Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you wherever you are. Today, we quickly want to go through the major headlines of major newspapers across the country to bring you up to date with events that are happening all around the country that you may have missed out on. And for the first newspaper we have today is Daily Post, the Daily Post newspaper. I'll be taking you through the major headlines on the Daily Post newspaper this morning. And on one of the headlines is saying that Ogun APC crisis, Amoson's deputy on Nuga defects to Abiodun's camp. We'll look at that story. Former deputy governor to the immediate past governor of Ogun State, Ibukunle Amoson, Yetunde Onanuga, has joined the incumbent governor. We'll take a look at that story coming from Ogun State. Then we have a story here that is saying Wike's Executive Order 21, prohibiting public gathering not feasible, APC's call. Wike is the governor of Rivers State, and he has made an executive order that will make it difficult for members of other political parties to campaign in his state, Rivers State. And so the APC's gubernatorial candidate, Tonye Cole, is saying that executive order is not feasible. We'll look at that story. There's a another headline here that's saying that says Yahoo boy kidnap 40-year-old man, kill him for money ritual in Ogun. We'll look at that story too. Then let's look at other major headlines. We have a story here that says tragedy in Enugu as 5 family members die mysteriously. We have another one that says Iyocha Ayu, those trying to poison others against autumn failed. Iyocha Ayu is the chairman of the PDP, which is the People's Democratic Party, and somebody here is saying that those trying to poison others against autumn have failed. Autumn is the governor of Benue State, and he and some other governors are currently at loggerheads with the PDP chairman Iyocha Ayu. Then we have a story here that says 2023 appropriation bill, budget padding may take toll on economy, expert fears. Then these are sponsored posts. Then we have a story here that says Obajana Group Child's Dangote's company alleges plot to destabilize Kogi. Obajana, the Kogi state government and Dangote Group are currently at loggerheads over the ownership of the Obajana cement plant. Obajana cement plant previously had belonged to the Kogi state government, but along the line, Dangote acquired it. But the current Kogi state government is saying that Dangote does not own the Obajana cement plant completely, and that it still has a stake in that cement plant. But Dangote is saying no, that the cement plant belongs to me 100%. So they are currently at loggerheads, and the federal government has stepped in to try and mediate and hopefully allow the court to settle the issue. We'll look at what that headline is saying later. And here we have a story that says Buhari to attend inauguration of Chad's Mahamat Idris Deby. Buhari is the president of Nigeria, and he is billed to attend the inauguration of the Chadian president Mahamat Idris Deby, who is the son of Idris Deby, the leader who was killed at the war front in Chad. Then we have a story here that says Eid Malud celebration, Jigawa governor deputy chair youths amid rejection chants. Jigawa state, the youths have reported to have booed the governor and his deputy. And so we look at that story to see, what's happening in Jigawa state. Then a story here says ASU ABU's Ahmadu Bello University denies threat to withdraw Kashifu's certificate over Utah's. We'll see what that story is saying. Then another headline says police react to alleged mob attack on Tinubu's convoy. Then Tinubu is the presidential candidate of the APC, and his convoy was said to have been attacked allegedly, and the police has reacted to that. We'll see what the police has to say about those who have attacked allegedly the convoy of Ahmed Bola Tinubu. Then we have a news headline here that says Niger government urges citizens to participate positively in democratic process. Then a story here says I never called Tinubu super politician. Obasanjo is a former president of Nigeria. He was the first president of Nigeria when we returned to democracy in 1999, and he is saying that he never called Tinubu a super politician. We'll take a look at that story. Then here, another news headline says 2023 Kaduna government warns parties against placing campaign posters on public infrastructure. The Kaduna government is warning parties against placing campaign posters on public infrastructures. Is that not a ploy to prevent parties other than the ruling party from campaigning in the state? We'll see what that story says. Then a story here saying that how Peter Obi can defeat Tinubu Atiku in 2023. Okoli. Then a story here saying in 2023 I can't dump APC ex WAMAF chairman. Bam. WAMAF means revenue allocation and fiscal commission. Then we have a story here that says Reps minority leader Elimelu mourns ex-PDP national chairman Ogbulafo. Yes, Vincent Ogbulafo, former PDP chairman, died recently, and so minority leader of the House of Reps, Tony Elumelu, has mourned him. Then we have a story here that says why APC Tinubu will win 2023 elections. Akpabio is former governor of Akwa Ibom State, who is known for his uncommon transformation during his time as governor, and he is saying that the APC will win the 2023 elections. Let's see what other stories on this newspaper are saying. We have a story that says oil bunkering. Community leader calls for investigation as one dies in Akwa Ibom. Oil bunkering is a business. Well, I say it's a business. It is a criminal offense that has, gained a lot of ground in the Niger Delta in recent times, and people have gone on to steal oil belonging to Nigeria and have refined them, in a crude manner, or have sold the oil to other countries or to awaiting ships on the shore of Nigeria, and it has caused a lot of problems in Nigeria. And so a community leader is calling for investigation. I think oil bunkering in Nigeria has come and has been in the limelight recently, following revelations by Peter Obi that those who are doing oil bunkering are members of government. And so after that revelation, the government has, taken a lot of action to stop and to reduce oil bunkering in Niger Delta. We have a story here that says 16 bodies recovered in Anambra boat tragedy as search intensifies. 16 bodies recovered in Anambra boat tragedy as search intensifies. It is sad that, we still have boats or ferry, as the case may be, who operate without safety procedures, who operate without allowing or ensuring that passengers wear safety jackets. That jacket would have saved lives. I think it should be a law, and I think that those people who operate these ferries and boats should be prosecuted for not providing these jackets for their passengers to put on, because in the event of the boat capsizing, it will reduce the amount of lives that will be lost. Government needs to look into it. Government needs to really look into it. Then we have other stories. The court asks Lagos dealer arrested with 941 kilograms of cannabis to pay fine. Then one story here says flood renders hundreds homeless in Imo. Flood has been ravaging a lot of communities in Nigeria recently. We saw flood take over Kogi State, take over the major expressway linking the south to the north. And now flood is rendering hundreds homeless in Imo. I just hope that the government will provide, things that will cushion the effect of this flooding on the masses. And here, a story here is saying that security officials dismissed for allegedly stealing sports equipment at UJ Uson Stadium. Then another story here says police arrest 3 robbery suspects, recover dangerous weapons in Kwara. So these are the major headlines on the Daily Post newspaper this morning. And so let us, go into details. Let us go into details and see what the major headlines are saying in detail. So first and foremost, we'll look at Wike's Executive Order 21, prohibiting public gathering, not feasible. APC's Tony Cole. Wike is currently the governor of Rivers State, oil rich Rivers State, and as elections 2023 approach, he has enacted an executive order prohibiting public gathering. So this is politics, and opponents view this as a ploy to make it hard for campaigns by other political parties in Rivers State. So let's see what that story is saying in detail. Wike's Executive Order 21 prohibiting public gathering not feasible. APC's Tony Cole. This is Nyesom Wike, governor of Rivers State. The political tension in Rivers State regarding who succeeds Governor Nyesom Wike in 2023 may rise in the coming days as major contenders in the forthcoming governorship elections. Tony Cole of the APC has rejected Executive Order 21 of the state government prohibiting political parties from holding campaigns and rallies using any public facilities without the payment of 5 million naira security fee. Reacting to policy Tony Cole described as obnoxious, the signing into law of Executive Order 21 by Nyesom Wike, Governor of Rivers State. According to the APC candidate, such action was tantamount to stifling the political space for the opposition parties in the state. He lamented, saying, "We have noticed with great dismay the unfortunate attempt by governor of Rivers State, to stifle the political speech, especially for the opposition political parties. So usually this is what happens during every political cycle. We have a lot of governors trying to make policies and trying to make laws that will make it difficult for their opponents to campaign, that will make it difficult for their opponents to hold rallies and to mobilize citizens, just to make sure that their party is able to hold on to power. This is what happens in many states in Nigeria. This is what happens in many states in Nigeria. And so the candidate of APC in Rivers State has criticized that signing of executive order into law by Governor Wike, and that is not how it is supposed to be. We are supposed to allow people campaign and hold rallies without, making sure that they pay very high fees. It doesn't augur well for our democracy. It is not good, and I, for one, I will not. I think that we should not commend that kind of law, and we should not encourage it. Those kind of laws and executive orders should not be signed at all. Our democracy should be strengthened. In a statement signed by Barrister Sogbeye, spokesman of Toniko Campaign Organization, the APC governorship candidate said the governor cannot cow and crush opposition parties even before the elections proper. Cole said, "We state categorically that the Executive Order 21 is deliberately being orchestrated and part of a ploy by the governor to stifle competition from other political parties, which is a manifestation of his penchant to brutally crush and suppress opposition in a multi-party democracy instead of allowing citizens exercise their freedom of choice as enshrined in the Constitution. We are therefore not surprised that Wike would toe this path in his resolve to impose a lackey on Rivers State as his successor in office." Well, sadly, this is what a lot of governors do across Nigeria. They try to make it difficult for the opposition to campaign during elections. They try to make it difficult for the opposition to hold rallies. They bring in various laws and implement various policies just to make sure that the opposition candidates find it hard or find it difficult. I think that our democracy should go past this level. Our democracy should go past this level. I do not encourage this at all. And I think that we should move past this. So that's all for this story. Let's look at another story on the Daily Trust, on the front page of the Daily Trust. Let's look at another story. Let's see. Okay, we have another story here that says Ogun APC crisis. Amosun's deputy Onaoga defects to Abiodu's camp. Let's just look at this story quickly. Ogun APC crisis. Amosun's deputy Onanuga defects to Abiodu's camp. The person in the middle is the current governor of Ogun State, former deputy governor to the immediate past governor of Ogun State, Ebukole Amosu. Yetunde Onanuga has joined the incumbent governor Dakpo Abiodu's camp of the All Progressive Congress APC in the state. Onanuga was said to have also pledged her support for the second-term ambition of the Abiodu administration. The former deputy governor was first seen with Abiodu during the celebration of the nation's independence on October 1st, fueling speculations that she had left the Ogun Central Senator. On Sunday, Abiodu's formal announcement that the woman and her husband Abiodun Anoga were accepted into the APC mainstream in Ogun State. This afternoon, I received the former deputy governor under the immediate past administration, Her Excellency Mrs. Yetunde Onoga, as she returns back to the mainstream of the APC. Well, this is what happened during election cycles in Nigeria. A lot of politicians jump ship the course from one political party to another. I do not think that this augurs well for democracy. I think our democracy should go to a level where belonging to a political party means that you share their ideology and that you share their philosophy, and that just jumping from one political party to another during election cycles becomes rare as it is in other advanced democracies. I think we have to do something about this because politicians who jump ship from one political party to another most of the time are just jumping ship for their personal reasons, for their personal benefit. Most of the time that's what happens. So that is all I'll be taking from that story. Former deputy governor from Ogun State and her husband have decamped to the APC. The man in the middle is the current governor of Ogun State, while the lady on your right is the former deputy governor, and the man on the left is her husband. That is all we're taking from this story. Let's look at other stories on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Let's look at other stories. Okay, let's look at this story from the front page. Iyocha Ayu, those trying to poison others against autumn failed. Iyocha Ayu is the current chairman of the People's Democratic Party, and he has been in the eye of the storm. About 5 governors from the southern part of Nigeria have been calling for the resignation of Iyocha Ayu because of the emergence of Atiku Abubakar as the presidential candidate of the PDP. Those governors have been calling for a balance in the power between the north and the south inside the PDP. They have the opinion that because the presidential candidate is from the north, then the chairman, which is the second highest position in the party, should come from the south. And so they have been saying that the chairman should resign. So that has not happened. That has not happened. And so these 5 governors, which include the governor of Benue State, have been saying that they will not support the presidential candidate of the party, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, unless the chairman resigns. So this is the current governor of Benue State, Governor Otom. And let's see what the story is saying. Jengbafa. The Jengbafa Concerned Youth Forum has cautioned the people of the Boko area of Benue State against allowing themselves to be deceived to work against Governor Samuel Otom. They said that those deceiving to having negative feelings against Otom due to the battle with Iyocha Ayu, the national chairman of the PDP, may have seen a light. Otom, alongside Governor Wike of Rivers State and other party chieftains, have been calling for the removal of PDP's national chairman. They claim that Ayu and the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar cannot come from the same region. Both Otom and Ayu are from the same state. However, JCYF said the traditional titles bestowed on Otom and his wife and recognition has indicated that those who recently embarked on the journey to poison the minds of Boko people and Jengbafa generally against autumn have failed. So this story is still about the internal uh, crisis in the PDP between the presidential candidates and about 5 governors who are calling for the balance of power in the party between the south and the north. And this is a story coming from Benue State. The governor of Benue State is against the chairman, who is also a Benue indigene, from being chairman because he feels that the presidential candidate haven't come from the north. The chairman should, go to the south. And so, because the chairman and the governor from the same state, some people feel that the governor should support the chairman, but that is not the case. So, that's what the story is all about. Ayu and Governor Autumn, and those trying to poison other people against Autumn because he's not supporting Ayu for chairmanship position, despite the fact that Ayu is from his state. So that's all for that story. Let's take a look at other headlines coming from the Daily Trust newspaper. We'll move to other newspapers soon, and we'll also see what other newspapers are saying. Then we have a story here that says 2023 appropriation bill, budget padding may take toll on economy, says experts. We will look at that story briefly. Let's see. Okay. After that story, we'll look at this Obaj and a group charts Dangote company alleges plot to destabilize Kogi. We'll take a look at that story. Let's quickly look at this story here. 2023 appropriation bill, budget padding may take toll on economy, expert fears. President Muhammadu Buhari has last week laid a total expenditure of 20.5 trillion naira before the joint session of the National Assembly as the 2023 budget proposal of the federal government of Nigeria. While presenting the budget, President Buhari lamented that it has come to his attention that the government-owned enterprises liaise directly with relevant National Assembly committees to have their budget passed and issued to them directly. He implored the leadership of National Assembly to ensure that the budget he presented, including those of the GOEs, be returned to the presidency when passed. The president also warned that the current practice where some committees of the National Assembly purport to pass budget for GOEs which were at variance with the budget be sanctioned need to stop. His warning seemingly is connected with the recent disclosure by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission that it unearthed infractions in the 2021 and 2022 Appropriation Acts, raising to the tune of 400 billion. So, this is what happens with budgets in Nigeria. We have what they call budget padding, where ministries and other departments will go and talk to National Assembly members to increase and to add, amounts to their budget that's, more than what the government initially allocated to them. They offer bribes and all whatnot to get huge amounts of allocation. from the National Assembly. This came to light by ICP's revelation recently. But this has been going on. There's something that has been going on. But it came to light again recently. And the federal government is warning and asking that the National Assembly should not be involved in such, and they should not encourage it. We just hope that, I feel that it is when people start getting, prosecuted, that these kind of things will stop. So until people start going to jail for such, I do not think that it will stop. I do not think it will stop at all. I don't think so. So that is that. That's that for that story. So let's see what other stories are on the Daily Post newspaper. Okay, let's look at this story of Bajana Group Child Dangote Company alleges plot to destabilize Kogi. The Kogi State government and the Dangote Group have been locked in a crisis recently, as the government alleged that they still have shares in Dangote cement plant in Abajana, Kogi State, but the administration at Dangote Group has said that is a lie, that they own the Dangote cement plant in Abajana, Kogi State 100%. So Opajana Group Child Dangote Company alleges plot to destabilize Kogi. So this is Dangote Cement company in Opajana. The Coalition for Truth and Justice has accused the management of Dangote Cement of a plot to disrupt peace and security in Kogi State. This is over the state government's insistence to recover its shares in the company. The group said rather than address the issues raised by the state government, the company has resorted to name calling and underarm tactics, ultimately causing turmoil and a threat to security. The coalition made this known in a press conference addressed by its Secretary General Comrade Musa Atta in Abuja on Sunday. This absurdity has been playing out since the Kogi State government recently sealed the cement company in Obajana, Kogi State group said. The ownership of the company, originally Obajana Cement Company PLC, has been in contention since after it was renamed Dangote Cement Company PLC. The group said that it was worrisome that up till this moment, Dangote Group has not refuted the claim by the Commissioner for Information in Kogi State, Mr. Kingsley Femi, that the company had allegedly held a meeting where a plot to sabotage the state using federal might was agreed upon. The group alleged that the plots, which it described as dangerous, were among other things to disrupt the peace in Kogi. So I just sincerely hope that the courts will settle this ownership tussle between the Dangote Group and the Kogi State government. I believe that there are papers and there are documents that can be showed, and that will really show who the real owner is and who is saying the truth and who is lying. So that will be all from the Daily Trust newspaper. We are going to look at the Punch newspaper and see what the headlines are saying, on the Punch newspaper. And we have a headline that says think tank prescribes solutions to Nigeria's economic woes. We have another story that says fresh trouble hits Atiku over anti-Yoruba Igbo comments. Then we have another story that says woman seeking spiritual help loses 7.5 million naira to fraudsters. Then we have a story here that says fraudsters forfeit 40 million naira bitcoins, iPhones to federal government. Then the story here says I didn't see Western nations wicked Amosun. Then a headline is saying Ihedioha, the son's trending voice notes 6 probe. Then this major story here is saying fresh trouble hits Atiku over anti-Yoruba and Igbo comments. This is Atiku Abubakar. He is the presidential candidate of the PDP, the People's Democratic Party in Nigeria, and in a recent campaign he called on Northerners not to vote for a Yoruba or an Igbo, and he said that the Northerners need a Northern candidate. That's what he said, and he has attracted criticisms for those statements and for those comments. So let's look at that story. Let's see what it's saying. Let's look at it. Fresh trouble hits Atiku over anti-Yoruba Igbo comments. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has come under fire following his advice to Northerners that they should vote for him in the 2023 elections because he hails from the northern region. Atiku, who stated this during an interactive session with the Arewa Joint Committee in Kaduna on Saturday, told his audience not to support a Yoruba and Igbo candidate in reference to the presidential candidate of the APC and his Labour counterpart Peter Obi. The PDP flag bearer, a Fulani from Adamawa State, declared that what the average Northerner needs is somebody who is from the north and also understand that part of the country and has been able to forge bridges across the country. I think this is part of the problems that we have in Nigeria, where we have politicians trying to stoke ethnic and religious, strings in people instead of doing issue-based campaigns. I think that for Nigeria to become better as a country, the citizens need to look beyond the ethnicity and the religion of candidates and vote for them based on competence. It is when we get to that level that we'll start seeing progress as a country. And I think such comments should be criticized as they are doing, and to that by Atiku Abubakar right now. We need to move beyond this level. We honestly need to. We need to. So that's it for this particular story. First trouble hits Atiku over anti-Yoruba Igbo comments. So let's see what other story the Punch newspaper is bringing for us. Think tank prescribes solutions to Nigeria's economic woes. ASU universities hold emergency meetings on resumption. ASU is the academic staff union of universities, and they have been on strike for about 8 months now. They have recently been directed by a court order to resume, and so they have been holding meetings on their resumption, on how they intend to resume across the country. So let's look at that story and see what it is saying. Let's look at that story to see what it's saying. As shown, the federal government have been locked in a battle for the past 8 months. The federal government implemented a no work, no pay policy on ASU, and the strike led to the death of many members of ASU who did not have money to take care of their hospital bills because of the no work, no pay policy implemented by the federal government. But with the recent pronouncement by the industrial court that ASU should, resume, and that discussions and conversations should continue. ASU has finally, you know, bowed to the orders of the court and have directed members to resume. Following the suspension of a strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, findings by our correspondent revealed that public universities across the country have made plans for special meetings of Senate councils in preparation for examinations and resumptions. The Punch newspaper reports that ASU on Friday, October 14th, announced the suspension of the strike that commenced on Monday, February 14th, 2022. That's a whole lot of time lost by students in our tertiary institutions. We cannot continue like this. Our educational system is in shambles. The quality of education in our educational system has deteriorated over the years, and it is sad, really, it is sad. It is sad that we need a government that will prioritize education. We need a government that will prioritize education. Seriously, we do. In a statement by the union's national president, Professor Emmanuel Osodike, the union explained that it suspended the strike based on a court order, while noting that the government had yet to meet its demand. Findings by our correspondent revealed that universities are set to hold special meetings to deliberate on new academic calendars instead of the one that was destabilized by the strike. According to a memo cited by our correspondent, the University of Benin has slated the special Senate meeting for October 18, 2022. The memo, which was signed by the institution's deputy registrar, M.I. Wike, partly reads the Vice Chancellor, Professor Lilian Salami, has approved that the meeting of the provost, deans, and directors should be held at the Senate chambers on Tuesday, October 18, 2022. In a memo from the Federal University Lafayette, the school noted that the Senate Council would meet on Monday, which is today, indicating its focus on reviewing the academic calendar. Other universities which have announced meetings for Senate Council include Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Federal University of Technology, Owerri, and Federal University, Dostima, Katsina State. We really need to do something about these strikes that our universities, frequently go on. We need to do something about it. We cannot continue like this. 8 months wasted, almost 1 year wasted, and some universities are saying that as soon as students resume, they are going to start exams. Most of these students have not been reading. They have not been reading their books. They have been doing other things to survive, and forcing them to have exams now, it's bad. A lot of them have forgotten what they read. A lot of them have not opened their books for a very long time, but we just see the universities rushing them to start exams. It's bad. Many of these students are not have not been preparing for exams. They have not. So we cannot continue like this. We cannot really. It's sad, but this continues to happen. Other schools that have announced resumption include the Taisla University of Education, University of Port Harcourt, University of Calabar, and the Bayero University in Kano. That's all for this story. Let's look at other stories coming in from the Punch newspaper this morning. Let's look at other stories coming from the Punch newspaper. Buhari budgets 248 billion for Lagos Ibadan Express Road. This Lagos Ibadan Express Road has been going on for a very long time now, and it is depressing that they continue to budget money for this road, and the work going on there it seems unending. Uh, it is sad that I've worked on this Lagos Ibadan Express Road for years now. The pace of work is so slow. I really don't know. Greed collapses 98 times under Buhari amid 1.52 trillion naira bailout. Then another story is teenagers drug sets calabash on their friend, victim dies. Let's look at what that story is saying. A lot of weird things continue to happen. And it is good that we are aware of how these people operate so that we can know how to avoid falling into similar situations in future. Teenagers drug sets calabash on friend, victim dies. There was tension in Temu, a community in the Kosi Ejim, a local council development area in Ekpe, Lagos State on Wednesday, following the death of a 20-year-old student, Dureni Kekerubu. The senior secondary school 3 student was said to have died on October 12 after he indicated that his friends, whom he identified as Daniel 19, and Sunday, another teenager, allegedly used him for a ritual. Wow. Nureni, before his death, reportedly said the two friends invited him over for food, adding that after he ate the meal, he slept off. He reportedly claimed that he woke up with a calabash on his head. A resident, Olatunji Ajao, said the Ekpe, Lagos State indigene was in pain while he narrated his ordeal, adding that he died the following day. He said Nureni said his friends Daniel and Sunday called him to visit them, but he did not respond. When he eventually went, they gave him food. He said, so still coming from the Punch newspaper, we have a story that says Fourth Star forfeits 40 million naira bitcoins, iPhones to FG. We will take a look at that story now. Fourth Star forfeits 40 million naira bitcoins, iPhones to FG. Let's see what that story is saying. Coming from the Punch newspaper. A federal high court sitting in Lagos on Friday ordered the final forfeiture of 1,982. Sorry, I beg your pardon. 1,982,022 units of Bitcoin worth 40 million naira, property of a suspected internet fraudster, to the federal government. In addition, Justice Nicholas Oweibu ordered the final forfeiture of iPhone 12 Pro Max, iPhone 7, and all phones found in 2 bank accounts of a suspected internet fraudster, Alkali Tanimu, popularly called Yahoo Boy. On July 19, 2022, the court made an interim order of forfeiture of the listed items, which have now been finally forfeited to the federal government. Justice Oweibu made the final forfeiture order on Friday after listening to the submission of Suleiman of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, who moved and argued the application for forfeiture and the affidavit in support and a written address Suleiman said the application was brought under Section 17 of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud-Related Offences Act of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1989 as amended. He told the court that the items sought to be fulfilled are reasonably suspected to be proceeds of illegal activity, and that the court has the statutory powers under the provision of Section 19 of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Related Offence Act 2006 to forfeit them. He added that the said intelligence report was analysed and found worthy and assigned to his team for district investigation. The deponent also averred that 2 phones were taken to the forensic laboratory where they were analysed and fraudulent documents were printed out from them, which he duly endorsed. He further stated that when confronted with those facts, the suspect, volunteered to make up his extrajudicial statement under words of caution, wherein he confessed to being involved in internet fraud. It is good that we are finally getting convictions for people who commit internet fraud. I think this will discourage others from going into such activity, because we have innocent people losing a lot of money, innocent people losing their life savings, and it is on the increase and it is on the rise with fraudsters defrauding unsuspecting members of the public. I think that more should be done, more both from government and more from the law enforcement. I think law enforcement should make more effort to crack down on these people. I believe that when they see that more and more people who are involved in these activities are going to jail, I believe that will serve to discourage youngsters from engaging in such activities, from engaging in advance fee fraud. Also, on the side of government, I feel and I believe that government should create jobs as much as it can, and also create enabling environments for businesses that will create job for these youngsters. We understand that youngsters, they need to work, they need to earn money, they need money to do stuff. Some people are sending themselves to school, they are paying their fees, and so they just have to survive. The economy is harsh and all that. So while we encourage government crack down on these people who are engaged in advanced fee fraud, we also must say that government must play its part and must play its role in providing jobs and in creating an enabling environment for entrepreneurs and businessmen to engage in business, and by so doing create jobs for the populace. We cannot continue to shy away from this issue in our society. It is giving us a bad name outside the country, and it is time for us to act. That will be all for this story. Let's take a look at another story from the Punch newspaper. Let's take a look at another story from the Punch newspaper. Let's take a look at another story from the Punch newspaper. Okay, another story from a Punch newspaper saying motorcycle thief burnt. Court is killed, Plateau monarch kidnapped. Another story here saying Delta boy kills father for questioning crop harvest. Then another story here says family panics as health worker goes missing. Okay, let's take a look at this story that says motorcycle thief burnt, cultist killed, Plateau monarch kidnapped. Let's see what's going on with that story. Let's see what's going on with that story. Uh, okay. From the Punch newspaper, motorcycle thief burnt, cult is killed, Plateau monarch kidnapped. All these happened in Jos, Plateau State, in the Middle Belt area of Nigeria. A young man suspected to be a motorcycle thief was on Saturday set ablaze by an irate mob in Agua Ukuba community in Jos North local government area of Plateau State. The suspect was alleged to have stolen over 10 motorcycles. When the suspect was apprehended, the police came and took him into their station, but the mob dragged him out and set him ablaze, an eyewitness said. Also, a clash between two rival cults has left one person dead in the Jos South local government area of the state. Meanwhile, in Mango local government area, government attacked Langai community and kidnapped the traditional ruler. The state police spokesman, Alabu Alfred, confirmed the three incidents. These are vices that we have in our country now, and I think this tip has to. This also boils down to our government, partly, and also boils down to our value system. Our value system is increasingly becoming eroded. In those days, growing up, you were told that a good name is better than riches, and so there was this propensity to keep and to preserve a good name of your family, and so youngsters um, always cautious not to put their family name, in the mud. And so they were well behaved, they avoided trouble, stayed away from crime, and were well behaved. But in this time and era, things seem to have, gotten bad, and people do not seem to follow anymore the saying that good name is better than riches. They now believe that it is better to be rich and have a bad name than to be poor and have a good name. And so they have increasingly become involved in vices, you know, stealing, robbing, engaging in cultism, and a lot of other vices that is not good for us as a society. I believe that our leaders, community leaders, church leaders, and leaders in government have to act collectively to stop these vices. We have to act collectively to stop these vices. We have to in church, leaders have to speak out against this get rich quick syndrome that is making youngsters to do different things to make money fast. We have to begin to speak out. We should not encourage people who steal and give them seats in the front of churches, because they have money. These are the things that will encourage youngsters to begin to go into crime, because they see that people who have done so are rewarded with front seats and recognition in church. The government should also stop recognizing and stop encouraging such in our society by making sure that they send offenders to jail, by making sure that they create an enabling environment for youngsters to excel, providing jobs for them, providing a reward system, a reward system that rewards excellence. These are things that will help keep the youngsters on the right path. These are things that will help keep the youngsters on the right path, and government needs to, do these things so that our youngsters will, become better people, and by so doing, we'll have a better society. So that will be all for this story. Let's see what other stories are coming from the Punch newspaper. Let's see what other stories are coming from the Punch newspaper. We have a story here that says the other boy kills father for questioning crop harvest. I wonder how that could have happened. But let's see what that story is saying. This story is saying family panics as health worker goes missing. We'll also look at that story to see where that incident happened. So let's see this story that says Delta boy kills father. I wonder what will happen and what will, you know, you know, prompt a boy to kill his father. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Uh, a man in his late 20s identified as Kido in Iseluku in an Onitsha North local government area of Delta State has been arrested for allegedly killing his father. That's terrible. Punch Metro gathered that Kido allegedly stabbed his father to death on their farmland in Iseluku area. A source said the incident happened when the suspect was confronted by his father for harvesting crops without permission. Wow. Kido stabbed his father to death and the community vigilantes have arrested him and handed him over to the police. It is almost unbelievable that such a little incident will prompt a boy to stab his father to death. I can't for the life of me comprehend and understand how this could have happened. That is, something that I consider very little. But in his confession, the suspect said he did not stab his father, but only used firewood on him in self-defense, while the father threatened him with a cutlass. The state police public relations officer DSP Bright Edafe said the suspect was in custody while the investigation was ongoing. He said the son was arrested immediately and he's in detention. They were quarreling on the farm and unfortunately he killed his father. Wow. It's unbelievable that this boy has killed his father. So this also brings to the fore the need for men to have control over their emotions, to be able to walk away when they're angry, so that they do not, do things and carry out actions that they will live to regret. Actions that are done in anger and that cannot be reversed. This is one of such issues. This is one of such events. This boy has killed his father out of anger, and it cannot be reversed. His father is dead. So us as men, we should learn to walk away when we are angry. We should learn to take caution and not to act when we are angry. I think doing that will save a lot of lives. Doing that will, prevent a lot of things like this from happening. To save a lot of things from being destroyed. We should never act when we are angry. We should just walk away. I think that would have saved the lives in this in this place. It should have saved lives. It's pathetic. It's a sorry situation that we have. Let's look at other stories coming from the Punch newspaper. Family panics as health worker goes missing in Delta State. Family panics as health worker goes missing in Delta State. Let's see what that story is saying. Why the health worker will go missing. Family panics as health worker goes missing in Delta State. This is a picture of the young man who is a health worker that has gone missing. The family of a 30-year-old health worker, Olusola Olaseyinde, has been thrown into panic after he went missing on his way to work in Ibadan, Oyo State. Punch Metro gathered that Olusola, who works at Fitson Healthcare Ibadan, left home alongside his wife Chisom around 7:30 a.m. on June the 29th. He was said to have boarded the vehicle Monday in front of a redemption camp and did not return home. His elder brother Oluwagbenga, who spoke to our correspondent, said all efforts to locate him had been abortive. He said he and his wife live at the redemption camp. He usually goes to Ibadan on Monday and returns on Friday, as he was transferred last year to Ibadan. On June 29, they both go to the gate of the redemption camp around 7:30 a.m. The wife went to Abeokuta High Court, while Sola went to work in Ibadan. Around 9 a.m., the younger brother called him, and he picked the call and said he was inside the bus, and when he got to Ibadan, he would call back. Around the same time, the wife called, and she said she was already at the court in Abeokuta. She said her husband's call came in a flash, and she tried to call back immediately because the court was not in session. She said his number was not going through. I visited detention camp around 12 p.m. because my mother traveled to camp that same day with a few things that she wanted to give them. The mother did not go with her new phone. I feel that this is just an incident of this looks like a one chance incident. Looks like a one chance incident. I called his wife around 8 p.m. It's a pity. I just hope that Olusola is found. If you have seen this face anywhere in your neighborhood, please call or visit the police station to inform them, because this guy is missing. If you have seen him anywhere, please allow the cops know, because his family is looking for him. It's a pity. I hope that he's found well, and that he's found alive. Let's look at one more story from the Punch newspaper, and we'll call it a day. One more story from the Punch newspaper, and we'll call it a day. Okay, let's look at this story that says FG reopens Dangote Cement, parties to continue talks. Few days ago, Dangote Cement had issues with the Kogi state government. The Dangote Cement bought the Kogi cement factory, and have been operating it since they bought it. But the state government has recently come up to say that Dangote did not buy the company 100%. The Kogi state government have said that they own part of the shares in the Dangote Cement in Obajana. It was formerly Kogi State Cement company in Obajana. So they have been saying that Dangote has not been paying what he's supposed to pay. And so the state government shut down the plant, and in the process of shutting down the plant, reports say that several people were injured. Workers of the Dangote Cement were injured. So the federal government of Nigeria has stepped in to make sure that peace is restored, and that the plant reopens so that work can go on. Because as we all know, that plant provides jobs and provides a source of livelihood for thousands of Nigerians located in Kogi State. So let's look at what the story is saying. The Dangote Cement plant located in Obajana, Kogi State, has been reopened after being closed by the Kogi State government over issues bordering on the legality of the company's acquisition by the defunct Obajana Cement Company. The development followed an order by the National Security Council on Friday directing the reopening of the cement plant. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aribishola, told journalists that an agreement had been reached between Dangote Group and the Kogi State government on the need to reopen the factory, while urging both parties to respect the agreement. The reopening of the plant came after a 10-day disagreement by both parties over the legality of the acquisition of the cement plant. In a series of statements by the Commissioner of Information, the Kogi State government had maintained that the acquisition of the plant by the richest man in Africa did not follow due process. The state government, backed by its House of Assembly, maintained that the process involved in the acquisition of the plant translated to assets grabbing. But now the Dangote Cement and the Kogi State government are having talks, and I believe that this matter will be resolved amicably. Um, that will be all for a review of newspapers and the headlines. Um, Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, and also please help to like this video to help us with YouTube algorithm. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Until then, stay safe. Bye bye.